Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 3, Hiranyakashipu's plan to become immortal, text number 25. Udaya Pranjali Prava. Ikshamano Drisha Vibhum. Actually, there's no purport to this. I'm just going to read it. The translation, no purport. Then getting up from the ground and seeing Lord Brahma before him, the head of the daityas was overwhelmed by jubilation. With tears in his eyes, his whole body shivering, began praying in a humble mood, with folded hands and a faltering voice to satisfy Lord Brahma. Shri Hiranyakashipu Vacha. Kalpante Kala Shristena Yondena Tamasavritam Abhivang Nag Jagat Idam Swaya Yanjoti Swarochisa Shri Hiranyakashipu Vacha Kalpante Kala Shristena Yondena Tamasavritam Abhivang Nag Jagat Idam Swayanjoti Swarochisa. Shri Hiranyakashipu Vacha Shri Hiranyakashipu Vacha Kalpante Kala Shristena Yondena Samasaritam Abhivyang Nag Jagadidam Sayajoti Swayochisa. Shri Hiranyakashipu Vacha Kalpante Kala Shristena Yondena Tamasaritam Abhivagnagadidam Swayanjoti Swarochisa. Chanske Hiranyakashipu Vacha Kalpante Kala Shristena Nada Savritam Shri Hiranyakashipu Vacha Shri Hiranyakashipu, beautiful Hiranyakashipu. No, she's beautiful. Hiranyakashipu said, Kalpa Ande, at the end of every day of Lord Brahma, Kala Shristena, created by time, by the time factor. Ya Ihu, Andena, by dense darkness. Tamasa, by ignorance. Aritam, covered. Abhivangnak, manifested. Jagat, cosmic manifestation. Idam, this. Swayam Jyoti, self-effulgence. Swarochisa, by his bodily rays. Atmana, by himself. Tririta, conducted by the three modes of material nature. Cha, also. Idam, this material world. Srijati, creates. Avati, maintains. Lampati, annihilates. Raja, of the mode of passion. Sattva, the mode of goodness. Tamaha, and the mode of ignorance. Damne, unto the Supreme Lord. Paraya, unto the Supreme. Mahate, unto the great. Namaha, my respectful obeisances. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Lord within this universe. At the end of each day of his life, the universe is covered, fully covered with dense darkness by the influence of time. And then again, during his next day, that self-effulgent Lord, by his own effulgence, manifests, maintains, and destroys the entire cosmic manifestation through the material energy, which is invested with the three modes of material nature. He, Lord Brahma, is the shelter of those modes of nature, Sattva Guna, Rajaguna, and Tamaguna. It's called flattery. Purport. The word Abhivyanag Jagat, Idam, refers to he who creates the cosmic manifestation. The original creator is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Janmadyasya yataha. Lord Brahma is the secondary creator. When Lord Brahma is empowered by Lord Krishna as the engineer to create the phenomenal world, he becomes supremely powerful. Feature within this universe. The total material entity is created by Krishna, and later, taking advantage of all that has been necessarily been created, Lord Brahma engineers the entire phenomenal universe. At the end of Brahma's day, everything up to the Swargaloka is inundated with water, and the next morning, when there is darkness in the universe, Brahma again brings the phenomenal manifestation into existence. Therefore, he is described here as he who manifests the universe. Trin Gunan Rinoti. Lord Brahma takes advantage of the three modes of material nature. Prakriti, material nature, is described here as Trivrita, the source of the three material modes. Srila Madhvacharya comments in this connection that Trivrita means Prakritya. Lord Krishna is the original creator and Lord Brahma is the original engineer. Mam Vishnu Vraya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutaya Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswatam Deve Gauravani Pacharane Nirvishesha Srinivadi Paskatyade Siddharne. So, Hiranyakashipu's not the most enlightened person in the universe, although he may have been the most powerful, or potentially the most powerful, because here he's giving all credit to Lord Brahma. But that's normal. There are 18 Puranas, 6 Puranas for those in the mode of ignorance, 6 Puranas for those in the mode of goodness, passion, and 6 Puranas for those in the mode of ignorance. In other words, the Vedic literature, there's something for everyone there. In the mode of ignorance, one might think Lord Shiva is the creator of the material world. And in the mode of passion, one may think that Brahma is the creator of the material world. And in the mode of goodness, one may think some powerful demigod, or ultimately Vishnu, is the creator of the universe. In any case, Brahma is, as Krishna says, yo yam yam tanun bhakta, shradayarchitam icham ti tasyatram shradam tam eva vidadamyaham. That I'm in everyone's heart as a super soul. And I empower the demigods. Yo yam tanun bhakta, shradayarchitam icham. I empower the worshippers with a particular faith to worship a particular demigod. And then the demigods, by my agency, satayas shadaya yuktas, tasyaradam ihate, labate chatata kaman, maya vinitan hitan. By my potency, the demigod is able to bestow benedictions. In other words, Krishna sets up the material world, although he's behind everything, he's empowering everyone, still he allows some credit to be given to others. And if they take the credit, then they're illusion. He allows the credit to be given, but along with the most basic principle is that aham brahmasmi, I am spirit. And beyond spirit is the fact that we're spirit is things such as prakrite kriyamanani, gunai karamani sarvashaha, ahankara vimudatma kartaham iti manyate. The bewildered spirit soul, under the influence of the three modes of material nature, thinks himself to be the doer of activities which are actually carried out by the material energy. Anadibam nirgunadvat paramatmayam avyam sharira stopikantiya nakaroti nanalipyate. Those who can see with the eyes of eternity can see the soul is eternal, transcendental, and beyond the modes of material nature. Despite contact with the material body or Arjuna, the soul is neither entangled nor is he doing anything. Soul is doing something, but not anything material or anything to do with this material energy or even the spiritual energy here. He simply desires. The soul, we ourselves, are simply desiring. And if we desire correctly, then we're under the spiritual energy. And if we desire incorrectly, then we're under the material energy. But our desire is not, we just desire. We have to know what to desire. So that's called intelligence. What's desirable and what's not desirable. What's to be done and what's not to be done. Pravritim cha, nivritim cha. Actually, that's right. Pravritim cha, nivritim cha. That's correct. Pravritim, yeah, correct. Pravritim cha, nivritim cha, karya vaya vahe, banda moksha chaya veti, buddhisapartha sattviki. There is a super soul. Pravritim cha, nivritim cha, karya vaya vahe, banda moksham chaya veti, buddhisapartha sattviki. That in the mode of goodness, the intelligence tells us what's to be done. That's called pravritim. And nivritim, what we're not supposed to do. Karya, bhaya. What we're supposed to do, what we're not supposed to do. Karya, akarya. What's permissible, what's not permissible, what's to be done, what's not to be done. What's fearful and which is not fearful. Bhaya. Chaya. Pravritim cha, nivritim cha, karya, bhaya. Banda moksha chayaveti, which is binding and which is liberating. Such intelligence is said to be in the mode of goodness. So that's why we're trying to find out what's desirable and what's not desirable. What will bring us progressively to a higher state of consciousness and what will bring us to a lower state of consciousness. People generally are not interested in their consciousness, they're interested in accomplishments, external accomplishments. If they accomplish something external, they think that's complete. If they can make money, or get a nice house, or a family, whatever, they take this as a great accomplishment. And therefore, sometimes they worship the demigods. If they're not qualified for the accomplishment, then they try to bribe a demigod to give it to them. But Krishna says this is apurva, avidi purvakam. This is illegal, trying to bribe the government offices. The result is you'll get something, but you also have to get the karma for using it. If you're not supposed to have it, and you get it, and you get the karma for it, it's not going to help you in your next lifetime. If you're not satisfied with what you have, then it means you're unsatisfied, and you'll try and get more, and that more will simply bind you closer to the lower modes of nature. Therefore, one should try to cultivate intelligence in the mode of goodness to find out what our duty is and what not is our duty, what's binding and what's liberating. Then we can understand what's desirable and what's not undesirable. And we can choose the right desires. The right desire will liberate us from material concepts. Unless we're becoming liberated from the material concepts, then it's all wrong. Then we're just wasting our time. Even if we're desiring the mode of goodness, which is better than ignorance and passion, still that itself is also binding. Sattva, tatra sattvat nimaladvat, prakasha kamanamayam, sukha sangena bananti, jnana sangena chagnaga. The mode of goodness is the tatra sattvat nimaladvat, is purer than the others. Nimaladvat, prakashakam anamayam. It gives one knowledge, illumination, not just ordinary knowledge, it illuminates one. And prakashakam tatra sadvenimaladvat prakashakam anamayam, and frees one from sinful reactions. Those in this mode develop knowledge and become conditioned by a sense of happiness, so-called happiness. Tatra sadvenimaladvat prakashakam anamayam sukha sangena chagnagi. Sukha sangena, what's the next word? Bandhanti. Tatra sattve nimaladvat prakasha kamanamayam sukha sangena chagnaga. That's not right either. Sukha sangena bandhanti, jnana sangena chagnaga. I guess the word is bandhanti, my guess. Sukha sangena bandhanti. Well, let's see, actually it's in the 14th chapter. Bandhanti. Yeah, that's what I thought. Tatra sattve prakasha kamanamayam sukha sangena bandhanti jnana sangena chagnaga, and frees one from all sinful reactions. So that's good, but one becomes generally conditioned by peace. In other words, generally speaking, when one strives for the mode of goodness independent of Krishna consciousness, then one is simply looking after peace. But without knowing we're eternal servants of Krishna, there can't be any real peace. Without knowing that Krishna is the controller, that Krishna is the enjoyer, that Krishna is the friend, one can't actually bring about peace. Without peace, there can't be any real happiness. Because even when we act in the mode of goodness, in harmony with the modes of nature, and material nature gradually doesn't put us into so much anxiety, but still there'll be some anxiety, because we have to die and we don't know where we're going. And if we're going to the heavenly planets, they're also temporary. So we don't know when we're coming back here. We don't know when we're coming back. If you come back here at the end of Kali Yuga and little men are chasing to eat you, you haven't really gotten very much progress. What to speak if you're one of those little men chasing after people trying to eat them. Wouldn't be very pleasant. Therefore, one should try to develop the intelligence that we're not the controllers. Even if you become Lord Brahma, he's not really the controller. He's an instrument for Krishna. And Hiranyakashipu, although he may appear to be a fearful demon, but he was empowered by Krishna. As Prahlad Maharaj said, when he asked him, where did you get your power from? So Prahlad said, the same person that gave you the power. So it's a show going on. These little souls are desiring, and this big show is going on. And we're taking credit for it, and we're blaming others for it, for so many things. But actually it's just a show put on by Krishna to satisfy the desires of the minute living entities, the soul. So therefore one should drop out of the material conceptions, understand how Krishna is behind things, and try to act as Krishna would want us to act. And if we do that, then whatever we're doing will be beneficial for ourselves and others. And if we don't do that, well, then we're simply bewildered and entangled by the modes. And it's not just activity, it's a question of vision, of seeing things. If we don't see how Krishna is behind things, then we'll be in anxiety and we'll blame others for what happens, and we'll get entangled in he's good and he's bad. They're all good and bad people, but these persons are simply Krishna's manifesting the desires of the soul. Unless Krishna manifested these desires, nothing would be going on, nothing bad would happen, nor would any good happen. So rather than worrying about what everyone else is doing, what Krishna is doing, we should worry about what we're doing. We have enough to worry about in that respect. We concentrate on what we're doing, then we'll make some progress, and one day we don't have to be in the material world, participating in this useless exercise of material desires. Because it's an opportunity here in the material world to develop spiritual desires, but once we develop them, then we won't be so entangled anymore by material conceptions and material desires. So I'll stop there. Thank you. Any questions? Yes.
Hare Krishna. I'm wondering, these demigod worshippers. So how demigods then they have like their separate account for their devotees to found their material desires, or they have like their personal account that Kshirodakashayi Vishnu is like supporting. How does that?
Well, you're trying to figure out what a demigod is. Good luck. It's like an ant trying to figure out how what motivates a human being. How does he do it all? You ever see an ant? How much brains they have? So with our tiny brain, we're going to figure out how the demigods are running the universe under Krishna's direction. It's not possible. We have no power to do that. Yes.
Hare Krishna. You mentioned about developing spiritual desires while being in the material world, this being the purpose of this world. So how do we ascertain that our desires are spiritual? Oftentimes they're very mixed with the material aspirations.
Well, if you know they're mixed, then they're mixed.
The thing is, I don't know. I think, no, this is spiritual.
Well, there's Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. Krishna has given us enough indications what he wants. Then there's the Guru and the Sadhus, they can tell us what they want. And if we're doing what they want, then it's spiritual. And if not, then it's material. If we're not consciously aware of what they want and how they want us to do it, how they want us to say things, how they want us to think, how they want us to act, we're not consciously aware of that, then to some extent they're material. And especially if we don't remember Krishna. If we don't see how everything belongs to Krishna here, meant to please Krishna by Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra, and we're not consciously trying to please Krishna, and therefore Krishna is helping us remember him, then we're under the material energy. But that's all right. If we make an effort, then we get out of it. And if we don't make any effort, then we'll never get out of it. It's the effort. We become more steady and more enthusiastic about service, authorized service to Krishna. Then Krishna will give us the intelligence so that we'll be able to understand these things. Yes?
Also, you quoted a verse about sattva-gun binding by attachment to peace. But this is something also that we frequently say when we preach or distribute books. That, as Purijan Prabhu was joking, he saw a Sankirtan van saying that read Bhagavad Gita for anxiety-free life. So he joked, I must be reading some wrong Bhagavad Gita. So on one hand, we sort of...
Was that the 72 edition or the...
he wrote all... He read all three of them, 68 too. So we use it to promote Krishna consciousness, but then we condemn this, apparently.
Yeah, depends who you're talking to. Obviously, it's time, place, and audience. Told people, read this book, it'll help you develop pure love of God. Maybe we can sell a couple of books to, our mother or father or someone down the block. Most people aren't interested in developing pure love of God. They are interested but this does promote peace. There's a peace formula, so we're not lying to them, but that's where they're at. That's what they're interested in. So we approach people according to what their interests are. Even Bhagavad Gita goes over so many different interests. There's something for the Gyanis there, Bonam Janmanamante. There's something for the Karmis, Karmyeva Dikaraste. Something for the Yogis, Yoginam Api Sarvesham. There's something for everyone. It's a Nigama Kalpatura Galitam Palam. It's a desire tree. Take whatever you want, but give a donation. Yes.
A person may think, if I fulfill material desires, then I'll be peaceful and practice spirituality.
Yeah, people are crazy.
What to do?
That's called punak punascarvita charanana. People are always thinking like that. It never works, but they always think like that. That's called material existence. It's called yoga chalati manasa. As soon as one tries to make advancement in spiritual life, Maya will try and delude one by so many different types of allurements. I don't know anyone who's fulfilled their material desires and said, oh, now I've had enough. And even if they do, they think, well, I ate so much, I feel satisfied. I had so much, I slept so much, I feel satisfied, etc. But then after some time it wears off, and they get greedy again, they become lusty again. You get burnt out by over sense gratification, even, now I'm satisfied. I'm free from sex life, we've heard that. I'm free from sex life. They joined the movement, they were engaged in so much illicit sex, now they feel they're free. And then a year later, when the intoxication wears off, they come down from the LSD trips, their senses get a little stronger again, then they fall in love again. Everything becomes attractive again. So you can get burnt out, and then it's called bhogatyaga. Alternating renunciation and sense enjoyment. Without becoming Krishna conscious, then we're simply engaged in alternating sense enjoyment and renunciation. Anything else? Because we do, satisfy our senses. If we eat prasadam in the right way, we sleep properly, etc., then our body senses will be more or less satisfied. It's not that we deny them, but if we think every desire that comes to my mind, first I satisfy them, and then I engage in devotional service, it won't work like that. We'll never be able to satisfy all the desires for our mind. The senses, they follow desire, and you can satisfy them if you sufficiently and properly gratify them. But the mind, you try to satisfy the mind's desires, then the mind will simply concoct more desires. The more you try and satisfy the mind, the more it will concoct more and more desires for you to satisfy. There's no end to this gratification the mind demands. Yes?
Hare Krishna, thank you for your explanations. I would like to ask, referring to this peace again, if it's wrong to search peace in Krishna consciousness, and if the peace is a byproduct of serving Krishna and going into the direction of serving Krishna.
If you want to become peaceful, if anyone wants, they have to become completely absorbed in Krishna consciousness. One has to go beyond the material conception of life. One has to realize that one's the eternal servant to Krishna, then one can become peaceful. Otherwise, it's not possible. As long as we're identified or misidentified with the gross and subtle bodies, how there is any possibility of peace? Nasti buddhya yuktasya nacha yuktasya bhavanaha napavintak shantira shantasya kutak sukham. One who's not, they have this new translation, which I always get wrong. One who's not in divine consciousness or Krishna consciousness can have neither a controlled mind nor steady intelligence, without which there's no possibility of peace. And how can there be any happiness without peace? Now the new translation is, that's the old one. One who's not connected with the Supreme in Krishna consciousness can have neither transcendental intelligence nor a steady mind, without which there's no possibility of peace. How can there be any happiness without peace? So without being connected with Krishna, we can't see things properly. And we don't see things properly, we'll always be in anxiety. We don't realize we're eternal, and we're eternally servants of Krishna, we'll always be in anxiety. And if we're in anxiety, whether there's any question of peace, and if we're not peaceful, there's no question of happiness. So trying to get peace independently of Krishna consciousness is impossible. Anything else? Thank you very much. Grandharaj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Gaur Premanande.